We're quite excited, actually. We're talking about 40-year trends in breast cancer incidence by race, ethnicity in the United States. And the back history is I've been an investigator in the Women's Health Initiative for a number of years, and I reported the findings for estrogen plus progestin in breast cancer, where as opposed to being good for you, it turned out to be increasing the breast cancer incidence, and the cancers were more advanced stage. Well, menopausal hormone therapy use, particularly estrogen plus progestin, which was being used by about 40% of postmenopausal women, dropped about 70% in 1 year between 2002 and 2003. And what happened is Peter Ravden called me up and said, Rowan, breast cancer incidence has dropped for the first time in 22 years when the SEER data came out. And basically he presented it, and I was on the paper where New England Journal asked us to write it, and we wrote it up as a manuscript in New England Journal. It spawned about 50 papers, and then I was able to show another paper in New England Journal that we stopped hormone therapy on 16,000 women in 1 day, and we were able to show that it could go down in 1 year, and the mammograms didn't change. Well, I was at Fred Hutch a few months ago, and we hadn't looked at the data. The data we had was at 2 years after stopping estrogen plus progestin. So it's 2004 and 2005. We hadn't looked in the last decade. So we just ran the data, and we were amazed that the breast cancer incidence had stayed down for 15 years, even though we stopped, kind of way far away. The hypothesis was that the reason the breast cancer risk stayed elevated was because other preclinical science had shown that progestin stimulates breast stem cells. The stem cells are waiting for another signal to develop into breast. It doesn't come. And so women are stuck with a lifetime of increased stem cells, one mutation away from breast cancer. Now the incidence it's interesting now, the incidence is about similar to what it was between 1985 and 1995. And other people have estimated that this difference accounts for 30,000 fewer breast cancers per year for the last 12 years. So we think that's a big deal. The second part of it is during the same interval, breast cancer incidence didn't drop for African American women, but continued to increase. And the two explanations for that are that African American women were not using menopausal hormone therapy for cultural or social, economic reasons, and so they didn't see the drop. And compared to white women are about 40% postmenopausal white women are obese. In the last 15 years, in black women, it went from 38% to 59%. And so basically they didn't get the decrease or the sustained decrease, and they got more increase because of their obesity. So we think those are really interesting things. It's a strong public health message supporting the $300 million investment in the clinical trials that gave that original finding. Yeah, I think we removed that rate because what would happen, it was starting in the 90s, you were having 30 or 40% of women coming forward with this experience of taking these hormones, and they gave the whole population this 25% increase in risk that was maintained forever. So now we've really stopped that because the use of the hormones has gone down so much. Now the other factors will be influencing it, maybe increasing trend for obesity and other kind of environmental factors. But we completely got rid of that increase associated with estrogen plus progestin. I think that difference over that of 40-year period really points out to the importance of addressing obesity now at the present time. And of course, we have a dietary modification trial that we're updating the results for in the next few months for the upcoming ASCO meeting. So we're on that question as well. Well, I think it's interesting to look at the entire range from 1975 to 2015. We see an increasing trend for white women, and there was an initial peak when mammography came in because you find cancer sooner, so you go up, and then the Western postmenopausal women, Caucasians, got obese, and so that continued to go up, and then we saw the drop. And so the same factors held for African American women, except now their obesity continues to go over that entire period of time.